Welcome to another episode on Bytesector. Today we're going to be setting up a new whole home Wi-Fi solution. Given the whole home server environment theme on the channel, we opted to go for an enterprise grade solution. Now you might be wondering, Chris, why not just grab a Google Wi-Fi 3-pack for $300 on Black Friday? Cloud manage your APs and be done with it. Well, the answer for me is simple. I gain a lot of visibility into my Wi-Fi environment by deploying a full-blown Wi-Fi controller rather than relying on built-in GUI management or worse, cloud-managed portals. You'll see what I mean in a few minutes. Keeping with my existing Wi-Fi infrastructure, I'll be deploying a new Aruba access point to complement my existing Aruba access points, converting the original or the existing instant access points into campus AP mode, and deploying an aging but still effective Aruba 3200XM controller. First, we're going to be taking this stuff here and building it all up, getting it ready to deploy around the house. I've got a factory reset Aruba 3200XM controller, 2 Aruba IAP 215 access points, and a single AP 225 access point. Surprisingly, this enterprise-grade 802.11 AC environment, aka Wi-Fi 5, isn't that expensive. You can pick up a used 3200XM controller on eBay for about $50 or $60 Canadian. You can pick up used AP 225s for about $110 and used IAP 215s for about $80 each. At those prices, our loadout here runs about $320, which isn't much more than Google's 3-pack of their Wi-Fi mesh AP system. But I get a whole ton more functionality and visibility into my environment for the price. So let's build up the controller first. We're going to configure it, configure our SSIDs, then we're going to join the APs into the controller, make sure everything gets seen properly, and then we're going to deploy the APs throughout the house, mount the basement one just above the camera there, and then we're going to rack mount the controller, get everything wired in through the switch properly, and we'll be off and running. So let's dive into the controller. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're just going to configure our switch here. First, we have to define whether we want it to be a standalone or a master switch. We're going to do a standalone, assign it an IP address. We're going to assign a subnet mask next. Leave the gateway blank. We don't need it. We're going to enter the country code, which is Canada. We're going to confirm that. We're going to enter our time zone there. Aruba could have done that a little better, but I guess the PST-80 is an okay example. Set our time. Yeah, that's right. I work late on these videos. Set the date. It already knows that. Again, I'm going to enter an easy password just for the sake of setup. I can change this later and will be changing this later. But there you go. And we're not going to shut down all the ports. We want things left open. It's internal. I'll protect it at the perimeter, and then we're going to shut the box down and let it restart with the new configuration. We're going to just speed up the boot. That should take about 10 seconds to boot up, and then we're going to get into the interface. So I've gone ahead and configured some wireless LANs, and we're just going through the setup wizard here. The wizards are optional on the Aruba controller, but they do make it easier to set up everything without having to know all of the nitty-gritty to do with the Aruba controller. So we've set our forwarding mode. For now, for authentication, I'm going to set the strong encryption using a WPA2 PSK or pre-shared key instead of going with Radius authentication. As nice as Radius is, I think I'm going to hold off on implementing that until I can figure out what devices are going on my internal network versus what devices I can offload to the IoT guest networks, and maybe I have to create a very restricted mobility network, which can be everything that isn't a Radius supported device, or rather a device that supports Radius. So we're going to just save our configuration here. Once that's done, then I'll go in and provision the access points, and we should be off and running. So now that we've got our controller configured, I went around and I mounted the access points around the house. As you can see, we've got our upstairs access point, our main floor access point mounted on a wall actually, and then lastly our basement access point mounted on the ceiling as well. I've also mounted the 3200XM controller at the top of the server rack in the basement. So now we've got the system up and running, the controller is managing the access points and all the SSIDs. So now we've got Wi-Fi deployed throughout the house. 3 access points, 1 on each floor, and a controller in the basement to manage everything. We've got coverage everywhere. There is no, 3 out of 4 bars, 2 out of 4, 1 out of 4, sketchy service. It's solid everywhere. And the great thing is I can even use the Wi-Fi outside now because I've got such great coverage at all levels. We have a lot of signal overlap, which creates a really strong signal throughout the entire house and on the property surrounding the house. We've basically eliminated any speed issues whatsoever that could possibly occur in the size of a property. That brings this video to a close. We've deployed our Wi-Fi. We've got a foundation to build our smart home on now. We've got a foundation for our server environment and to enable connectivity across all kinds of platforms as we deploy them and roll them out. So this Wi-Fi project is kind of dual purpose. It serves both our smart home series and our servers at home series. And that's going to be awesome for everybody involved. I hope that you guys at least opened your eyes a little further that mesh Wi-Fi, consumer grade mesh Wi-Fi from the likes of D-Link, Linksys, ASUS, Google. There are enterprise options that are not going to break the bank. In fact, that are as or less expensive than the consumer equivalents. They bring the management in-house so you're not relying on the cloud, on your internet connection to be able to have Wi-Fi. If you guys liked what we talked about here, if you liked the message, give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you didn't like what you saw, think we could improve, give us a thumbs down, but please do leave us a comment so that we know what we're doing wrong and how we can make it better for you. After all, you are the viewer and you are king. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.